right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. I am super excited to have with me our next featured guest speaker. And yeah, I'm delighted to be in her presence. She is a teacher, speaker, energy healer, best-selling author, not one, but of 8 books, a pioneer in the field of personal development. And for over 25 years, she has supported millions worldwide with her life-changing books and online courses. She sees humanity shifting in a higher consciousness and feels called to help people create more intentional lives and fulfilling relationships. And with me today, ladies and gentlemen, I have Carol Tuttle. Carol, welcome to our
Thank
show.
you. Appreciate you having me.
Yes, of course. So honored to have you, and especially with your wealth of knowledge, I cannot wait to dig in. So let's start right away. Carol, share with us. I know you just didn't randomly decide to go into self-development and stay with it for 25 years, right? For any simple reason. So share with us what got you inspired to do what you do, and who is Carol Tuttle?
Well, I've been, just for reference sake, I've been on the internet for 21 years now. I've been in the self-help genre for over 30 years. And so I'm not new at this. I'm 63 at the time of this recording. And I've seen kind of the evolution of what started way back in the 80s as recovery that turned into, by the 2000s, more of a spiritual movement and mindfulness and consciousness, when interestingly, I've been teaching that point of view from the very origin of my work, to understand that as we come to know our own truth more fully, we have to dredge up the old stuff, the stuff that's interfering and compromising us: childhood wounding, old programming, negative thought processes, negative perceptions of ourself, and shaming references. And in a weird way, I was blessed with an early onset of having to deal with that. When I was just a young mother at 28 years old, I had a severe case of suicidal depression due to some extreme PTSD I was dealing with due to a very traumatic childhood. We know so much more in today's world about childhood trauma and the side effects of that, and even generational trauma that needs to be healed, that can be passed on through our epigenetics, the imprint of that. But at the time, in the late 80s, it was a real guessing game to be in that position. The only thing you really knew to do was go to traditional therapy, which I did for nearly 3 years. And that was basically a crutch for me. It helped me from doing stupid things and creating some sense of what I was dealing with. It wasn't the avenue for pure and complete healing for me. It basically pieced a lot of the puzzle pieces together to understand why I'd ended up in this place by age 28. And with 4 children, 6 and under, I was highly motivated to get better. The damage I knew I was incurring on their lives and the long-term side effects they deal with, if I didn't turn this around, I was very, very conscious of that. My marriage was in a really rough spot. And so as I pursued to find answers, as I prayerfully, really in a more of a position of frustration and anger, because I was a good person. I'd done good things in my life. And I'm like, this sucks. How come I'm the one that can barely get through a day? And as I really approached that through prayerful dialogues and just said, what do I got to do? I'll do whatever I have to do. I was led into more alternative healing methods and energy healing and the things that were not even on the map. They're still considered really woo-woo by a lot of people. But as I explored that and participated in different and learned about the personal energy system and really understood the power of our thoughts, the power of our feelings, the power of our belief, And I started to work with my own wounding and heal my inner child and heal that part of me that was still carrying all this baggage that made me so emotionally vulnerable. I started to see major progress. And that's when in the early 90s, I decided to be trained in several modalities and get very good at what I did. And it was just through, again, that guidance I've been led by through the years in my professional activities to go from a very successful private practice to eventually winding that down and really building my online presence, because I knew I was meant to reach more people and teach them that the tools that I had developed and what I knew worked and the bigger picture of what they were dealing with, so that they weren't blaming themselves, so to speak, that they chose to be accountable, yet understand the bigger picture of healing. And one of the things that birthed itself in all of this in the early 2000s is a program I called Dressing Your Truth. And that became a real catalyst for helping women shift. When I saw the self-shaming, when I really became conscientious as an observer of the common practice it is for women to negate their body and to shame their appearance as a culturally accepted behavior and character trait, that this isn't right. Yeah, we've got to heal this. And that we grow up through our teen years sort of developing this negative point of reference to who we are as acceptable, that it's like, well, that's just the way it is. If you don't look good in your clothes, it's your fault. If you don't feel good in your clothes, it's your fault. And unfortunately, the fashion and beauty media really goes with that, because they're selling you the correction constantly. Wear this, use this product. See, that's the only way a trend marketing campaign can stay alive, is if you need the next new thing that's going to make up the difference of where you're flawed. And as I understood, the flaw was not us. It was in our perception. It was in our belief. Right. And the system was flawed. And so Dressing Your Truth became this huge, it's an interesting program, because you'll not only look better, you'll take years off, because we're aging ourselves as women with the wrong hairstyles and colors and different movement on our body, but we will also finally get who we are. We will understand our truth as a woman and live from that point of awareness, because the program is built on a 4 types profiling system. So in your first pass through Dressing Your Truth, you learn about the 4 types. Mm-hmm. And the natural expression of who you are, both inwardly and in your physical appearance. So you can come home to this natural expression. It's been you from the day you were born. Embrace that. And again, ironically, most people were parented in a way to counter that awareness, to say, I'm flawed, I have to correct this about myself. And it'd be fun to go through each of the 4 types to give you a glimpse as to what they are, so that you can understand this kind of the way we've complicated ourselves, this inability to love ourselves effortlessly. It's like, why is it so hard for people to love them, women especially, love themselves? Well, it's a lot of just false beliefs and compromises that get in the way. You get rid of those and you really get to just effortlessly love yourself and carry on. It's not like you're going around going, I'm so cool, I love it's like, I get to just now live my life without the distraction of beating myself up every day and putting myself down. I get to show up and serve. I get to show up and contribute, because I know who I am and I don't question that anymore. And that's a huge, people die without ever getting there. That's a huge lifetime check it off the list accomplishment. And Dressing Your Truth helps you get there very quickly. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I as you were speaking about how some women, including myself, perceive that I have to dress a certain way and things like that, was so interesting, all related to my childhood, where my mom thought that the whole time when she was pregnant with me that I was going to be a boy. Uh-huh. So her perception of me was all that, and I have to be strong, I have to be X, Y, and Z. And for the longest time, Carol, I couldn't say that I actually like pink, because her perception of me is so ingrained in who I believe I am, which
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm still a woman, but I always walk around saying, oh,
Sure.
I'm a tomboy. I don't like pink, or I don't like flowers. But until I really discovered that, no, I actually do like pink. And that's really okay for me to accept that. And it's okay for me to say that I like fresh flowers, and that's okay. I love that you're saying that, because ultimately, as a culture too, we have a preconceived notion of women should dress like this and men should dress like this, and all of that. And what you're doing is so amazing and incredible, where you're allowing women to be who they are. And I mean, you're a testament to that. Look at I mean, I don't know you on that personal level, but I can say that from looking at the way you're expressing yourself through your style is, yeah, you're 100% unapologetic. You're bold, you're, like powerful, like all of the things.
Well, thanks.
It's
I,
so
I have to throw out there too, because I'm a very I am 63 and I do look good for my age. I look healthy, and I want to put this to rest immediately. We actually even have this in our Q&A on our website. Has Carol had a facelift? And I'm like, no, I have not. Your hair is a huge part of your facial appearance, but I'm a very strict in my diet and my protocols and my health practice, because I'm really into get really clearing up the ageism, cultural perceptions, and the fact that we will age ourselves through certain lifestyle practices and even fashion choices. So I say one of my little taglines I like, because we do have a huge customer base of 40 and up, and primarily because there's next to no support in the fashion world for women once you come into this phase of life, especially 50 and 60 and up.
right.
It's been dumbed down so much. And one of my favorite sayings is dress your truth, not your age. And I'm not ever promoting try and be trendy or look younger than you are. Be you, dress true to you. We teach you how to do that, how to really use what I call your beauty sixth sense for what feels correct for you and really honors your beauty. And the other saying I have is, grandma is a role, not a style. And that really want to
Love
maintain
it.
your identity. And you could say that for motherhood too. It's a role, not a style. Because we do have a kind of 30 to 40-year-old range that's tired of wearing jogging pants, or yoga pants, and saying, I want to have, I'm getting dressed every day. It's not like a lot of things, like working out is a choice.
Yes.
Dressing isn't, unless you stay at home and you just choose to be naked in your own home. But we can't go out in public without clothes on. There's consequences to that. And so you're already in the activity of dressing yourself.
Right.
Let me help you, whether you're a professional, whether you are a stay-at-home mom, maybe you're a homeschooler, whatever it is that you participate in life, I can teach you how to put the right movement through design line, texture, color, fabrication, and patterns on your body. That first of all, not only will improve your appearance, but secondly, it's like daily affirmation. It's like, this is me. I recognize who I am. This is my type. This is my nature. And it really is a practice of awareness that dressing becomes enjoyable. And you save a ton of money because you're just not purchasing the wrong things anymore.
Yeah.
And less is more in my world, because you can make so much more of your closet with fewer things because of the way they all interrelate.
Yes. And I love it. This is one of the facts that I heard from actually a stylist, that we don't wear 80% of our stuff in the closet. And it's so true. Like I tend to recycle what I've already been used for, like the most recent. So I love what you said earlier, and which is an amazing segment to what I want to talk about, which is our topic of the show, is the idea of being healthy, and being like us talking about ageism. And how do you think health is related to self-development, and in what it means for women to really build wealth by optimizing health?
Well, your health is the foundation of the quality of life, no question. It will override anything else, because if you don't feel good and you have disease and illness to deal with, it will compromise you. I know personally from having been through different cycles of healing, both emotional and mental, emotional, and physical. I've been able to successfully kind of meet that issue with a different point of view, and they've all been lessons that I've received for my own awareness to now live a preventative lifestyle versus a correction lifestyle. And so, the other thing is, if you go the path I go and you're more holistic, illness, bad health can suck up a lot of money.
Yes.
You can spend a lot of money on trying to get well, and yet you can get to a place. I had someone say to me the other day, and I don't agree with this because it's a belief. Well, if it wasn't this, it'd be something else. Kind of like, we're going to always have something to break us down. And I'm like, well, no, you always have challenges. Whether you suffer from them or not is a choice. And that's based on your perception of what you're dealing with. And if you feel powerless to it, then you'll feel like a victim and you don't have a lot of options. Where having good health really sustains us in living true to our purpose and being able to, I'm all about money as a currency. It's an energy. It has the ability to flow or be blocked. We are the factor in that. It's either we have an open energy to it and we flow it and we receive it. It's a current that's meant to flow in and out, or we block that current. And health will be, when you're not healthy, you're not in a vibration of flow. There's an imbalance, and it will create imbalances in other places in your life. And money could be one of those areas.
Yes, yes. I love it. You're preaching to the choir. So thank you very much for all the affirmations. So then the next one I wanted to really talk about, especially for women, especially working moms who are really trying to do everything and of course create the freedom, and especially momspreneurs. So what for you, Carol, now being where you are, what does wealth mean for you in your life?
Well, where I've gotten, it's one of my favorite sayings, and it can actually bring up a lot of issues for people because you were taught to not embrace this. But one of my favorite sayings with money that I created several years ago for myself was, I love money and money loves me. Because money is a resource. It's a tool. It's all it is. I create the story of it. I create the experience with it. And so as I have this love relationship with money, it's a constant. I don't have to worry about it because it sustains me and it supports me. And so I have great affection for money and appreciation for it. Done a lot of healing when it comes to all the programming and all the cultural familial stuff that gets handed down and brought into our experience about money. And I've cleaned all that up so that money can be a beautiful experience that's there to support me in living a life that I'm meant to live, a life that's correct for me. The thing that I find fascinating for women, we're a vibrational being. And so when you don't, for one, if you're at odds with your true nature, if you don't know your type of my 4-type system, you will actually shut the flow of money down because you're shutting yourself down. For example, I'm a type 3 in my system, which means I'm a rich, dynamic, push forward, action, results oriented woman. I think on my feet, I move quickly, I make substantial decisions, I take risks. I'm highly motivated by a new challenge. And yet type 3 females, especially in my age group that were born in the late 50s, early 60s, the stereotype was still the feminine was soft and was a follower, not a leader. And so I heard a lot of shushing, and I'm too much, I'm too loud. Well, I am much. I am what I am. And I know how to direct that now. You don't want to show up as too much in certain settings, but I understand the value of that and living true to that and living my purpose. And money's going to find its way to me more easily by being aligned with my nature, with my type. Since I've known my energy type 17 years, I've had this point of reference to who I am, the vibration of me, the way I move through the world. I have increased my income multiplied it substantially because I'm aligned with my truth. Because when you're not, you will be at odds and you'll block. There's a lot of things that go out of balance, but we're talking about money, so I'll refer to that.
Yeah. And I think what I really love and what I believe in is what you just said. In other words, is that I believe that someone's self-worth is that person's net worth. What do you think of that idea?
Well, if you're still questioning your value and you're questioning your true nature and your natural tendencies and you're shaming yourself from them, then you don't value yourself enough to think that money would value you, that money wants to support you. Most people have a relationship with money where they either feel money has all the power, or they're disconnected from it, or they're at odds with it. And that all is an energy setup. And those all can be corrected by, that's a very when you know your self-worth and it's not based on achievements, people's perception of you, approval. Self-worth is an actual living thing in us. I think we're born with worth. When we plug that in and it's a constant, that allows money now to be a constant, because we're no longer questioning what has always been. We're not projecting a lie on a truth that's always been there.
Yeah, I love it. It's a fascinating way of explaining it. And I don't think I've ever heard it that way. So, wow, amazing. So
I learned it was in the mid 90s. I had a epiphany. I've had many epiphanies in my life, but when I was going through a lot of my own really deep healing and the dredges of my own self reprimand and self shaming and not liking myself, as I had not been raised to love myself. I had not been raised to value myself. I had a spiritual impression very clearly. I was told you need to be your own best friend. And the reason is you're always going to be with you. So you might as well start liking yourself. That makes so much sense to me. I'm like, duh. Okay, I'm going to work on that. So I'm my own best friend now. I really like me.
Yeah. And you know what? I can believe, I mean, this has also been my journey too. It's the hardest, I want to say the hardest challenge, or the biggest challenge for us women, is there's always somewhere along the lines of like that we're not good enough, or whatever it may be, cultural pressures or not, but for sure. And so how can someone get in touch with you, or how, if they want to be a part of your world? I know you have Address Your Truth as a program. What other ways that people can really
we set up a really cool offer for your community. If you go to caroltuttle.com/prosperousmom, all one word, you'll go to my free course, my Dressing Your Truth free course. Now, this is a course I used to teach in a live event model for $2,400. Then we took it online and sold it for about $300. I now have it set up as a introductory experience. It's about a 30-minute course, but it's a very engaging, very eye-opening, like, oh, wow, it really gets you thinking about yourself and everybody else in your world when you start learning about the 4 types. And then you can choose which of the 4 types you think you are. You might be right immediately. You might be skewed by people, what you were told who you should be, but then you are introduced to the dressing system. That's all for free. And they can find that through that link, caroltuttle.com/prosperousmom. And then you're going to get, we have a code, a shopping code. I have we have a e-commerce part of Dressing Your Truth where we sell jewelry and makeup and hair care. And I have an incredible anti-aging skin care line. I've spent years researching that, spent tens of thousands of dollars in that whole marketplace to find out what really works because of my own need for it. But we have a $10 gift card if you use the code Prosperous Mom. But I'd start there because honestly, until you know yourself, that is at the base of everything, is that self-awareness. You could be exhausting so much energy and effort trying to be someone you're not. And then you come home to who you are. I'll have women all the time in my community. Hundreds of thousands of women have gone through my Dressing Your Truth program in over 130 countries. And I've had women say, I was Googling capsule wardrobe. Little did I know I'd find myself. Because we do some pretty common SEO stuff for finding, hairstyles over 50, because that's what women are looking for. But what's interesting is we kind of take you through the back door and go, well, what you're really going to learn is not only your best hairstyle, but you're going to learn who you are. And that's going to be your biggest takeaway.
Fantastic.
Which I'm really grateful for, because that was always my quest. I've never been a fashionista to try and I love it now because it's fun with the tools I teach, but I wasn't that girl that was super into fashion. I was the one that felt out of place and unfashionable and had an eating disorder in high school and was overweight and really, really despairing in my own self reference. It's really sad. I've had to go back and through visualizations and claim that part of me and reinvent myself in those ages. So I don't have that old energy imprint of being the overweight, depressed teenager. And that stuff really works, by the way, but it's so remarkable to finally put this whole thing to rest, and your new challenges, rather than there's 80% of my closet I don't like, your new challenges, I love everything in my closet and I'm not sure which great thing to wear today. Looking in the mirror and thinking, I look really good, not I suck, or leaning in and going, oh my gosh, I'm aging and blah, blah, blah.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. I help women stop that. It's like, stop. There's so much the world needs from you right now. And that is taking your energy.
Yes.
We're smarter than that now as women. Come on.
Yes. So much more. And especially if we have families and, being moms and such like that.
Yeah, you're modeling it to the next generation and it needs to end with us. That's kind of was my thing. I'm like, I have 2 daughters and they're not going to carry this on. We're done. And they're confident, assured, self-aware, young moms in their 30s that are, and now the next generation of granddaughters, I'm like, they're starting from birth with I'm like, they're gonna look at us and go, you used to hate yourself? Why?
I love it. Amazing. I feel like this is exactly what the audience needs to hear in terms of how to express themselves and what is really possible when they're really standing there in their truth and really asking and requesting for what it is they want. So Carol, what would be, this is the last piece of knowledge and share. What is your parting remarks for these women? And your presence has been incredible. I feel like it's like coming through the screen.
Oh, thank you.
Like receiving all the great energy and wisdom from you. So Carol, what would you say?
That substantial type 3 energy, I would say to women, and I've said this many times, stop the habit of self-shaming when you look in the mirror. At least just stop. Maybe there's more to learn. You're not where you want to be, but loving yourself right now is not choosing apathy, or it doesn't cancel out the desire for change. Loving yourself promotes change. Prosperity is a way of life. It is a way of being. Be prosperous in your thinking. Think, at least acknowledge something good about yourself, because you can come up with many things that you appreciate about yourself. So cancel out that I don't like, my hips are too big, or I hate my ankles, or my leg, whatever. You've been shaming the same thing for decades, most likely. Your nose, face, whatever. Oh, I'm looking so old. I can help you with all that, no question. But you've got to start the process of having a more prosperous mind, starting with self-love and acceptance. So you can at least stop the habit of going, saying something rude about yourself.
Yeah.
Stop
No, I
being
love
rude
that.
to you.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what you shared to Claire. You said like you have to be your own best friend. So if you're your own
Yeah,
best friend, why would you say anything
I
mean
know.
or degrading to
If
your
you have a friend
best
like
friend?
that, you got to dump them.
Absolutely. So wow. Thank you so much
Thank
for your time,
you.
Carol. And
We
thank you
hope to
all.
see you. If you end up in any of my Facebook groups, let me know you found me here, and I'm very present. We have several Facebook communities. I'm very present in a couple of them that are paid membership programs that help women go further with my program. But I love it to hear where you've come from and how you've come into our community. So make sure to mention this is where you discovered me.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you again, Carol, for your time, for your amazingness and incredible way of affecting and transforming the world. Keep doing it. Keep rocking it out. You look incredible. And thank you again so much for being a part of our show today.